So are you ready? This is the follow-up. This is the second half to the earlier broadcast from this morning. Are you ready for what's coming? What we had happen here today was basically a storm brought in a lot of water. This is extra water here. quite a bit of extra water, quite frankly. In the reflection there, well, there's, let me move this over so I can show you down here. This morning, the high tide was probably about 2 feet taller. No, I would estimate almost 3 feet taller than it is right now. It's still really a high tide. That's the point of that, is that the water fills its container perfectly. We can see the slanted telephone pole, power pole. I'm going to flip this around so I can show you a little bit better. This area right here, I've done quite a bit of broadcasting in front there to show the irregularities that occur in the bottom of the ocean when the tide is out. And now the tide is in. And I'm going to take us for a bit of a walk around and utilize a mobile, my suction cup device, and show you with that. I just put that on a battery source like this. And I wanted to show you basically the before and after, what it looks like. So this morning we had a lot of rain and a lot of wind, in excess of 25 miles an hour, coming out of the southeast right over there, which is the direction it's coming right now, about 7 miles an hour. Not enough to move the propeller up there. Interesting looking clouds, I would say. Very interesting. It's real easy to see the color of the crane over there, how it pops with the light hitting it. And this right here is the rinse-off station. Basically, I've put this in the view in a few shots. In earlier broadcasts, it would hit a concrete pad that's probably under about a foot of water, and all of this marsh grass and miscellaneous debris came in today. Now the bottom of this is pretty sandy, so this won't be a problem. What I was going to say is I'm going to walk out there. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that with my watercross shoe. It's not a problem. In this particular area right here, it's pretty sandy, so it's not a problem. And in the earlier broadcast, I showed this very piece of wood that had floated in here, and I estimated that it weighed about 100 pounds or so. It's a really heavy, pretty waterlogged hunk of wood, but it's light enough that it can float right now. I've got a lot of photography and videography from down here at the Russell R. Burgess Coastal Preserve. From this vantage point, we can see the symmetry of the clouds above and below here. Of course, the symmetry of the walkout. This is in Cherry Grove, South Carolina, about a quarter of a mile from the open ocean where the morning broadcast was, and I'll be going back to. A lot of this grass has been around for a while. It moves around like a mat of sorts. When we had Hurricane Matthew, the water went approximately over the top of the railing right here. That would be about a 14-foot or so storm surge that came in here. Once again, the water seeking its level. look at the beautiful reflections right here. Because the wind is coming from over here, this windbreak allows us to see the reflections back at that angle there. This is a sea level liquid mirror, a plane mirror is what this is. So even though there's ripples, the symmetry of the lines of the architecture matches basically what we're looking at. And what it is a clue for is basically that the water, undisturbed water, is flat and level, and that's that. Whether you like it, believe it, agree with it, is irrelevant. The truth is not determined by who believes it, how many believe it. The truth just is, and then there's everything else. I went into great detail this morning, and I'm not going to have a 3-hour broadcast now. I'm not going to do it. Ooh, yeah, they're picking on me for my eyebrows too. Too big an eyebrow. Oh well, that's okay. I don't mind. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm up over 12 million views now. People picking on me and others within the truth movement, the ultimate truth movement. Now the tide is going out. Has been for a couple of minutes. This was spectacular today to be able to come out and do this. To show you what it looked like this morning with a lot of wind and water. The clues right here, the stuff that's on these treads, are clues as to the height that the water probably was. I don't think somebody came out here and just placed them there like that. This probably got blown there. We had a lot of wind. That was happening. Actually have law enforcement out there. That's cool. I'm good with that. That's just one of our local law enforcement officers. Actually, nobody's supposed to be fishing out on the pier there. I'm not complaining. I didn't make the rule, and I don't need to do any enforcement. That's not what I'm about. I can see the way that the water is moving, and it's moving a little bit more. Something just surfaced there. We can see the ripples going out from that point. So like the railings here have, they're all tapered so people can't put stuff on them. And the water will continue to go out for approximately 6¼ hours. There's a water tower in the middle of the view and a water bottle in the middle of the view too. And it'll just do that all over the place. Time and time again. It's testable, repeatable, provable reality. What seeking its level means is that as I tip this, the water will pour out until it reaches the point of exit of that. Right over the top in between the two houses in the middle of the shot is another water tower. We have a huge amount of tourism here in this area, the Grand Strand of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We're expecting 20 million people here. That's a lot of people, a lot of water use, a lot of water treatment, not just toilet flushing. We're looking at wastewater for laundry, linens, towels, showers, all of that. It's a big deal. This is the Russell R. Burgess Coastal Preserve. The ocean is straight away right over there on the other side of those large buildings, right in the middle of the view. That's the Prince Resort. The Cherry Grove Fishing Pier is about 1,000 feet from the resort itself, the Prince Resort. And you can operate the camera that's on the end of the pier. Right in the middle of the view, a piece of cactus there. Never seen it there before. It's not normally where cactus would be. So we've had high winds, big water. This is the highest I've seen it here in a long, long time. Of course, like I mentioned, when Hurricane Matthew came in, it covered the railings here, which means that it covered over all the marsh grass, and it was a big bunch of water that was not glassy at all. It was laden with all kinds of floating debris, like this right here. Out in one of my live broadcasts, I archived it personal. There was a beam that was probably 300 pounds out there on the point. Moved it right into the middle of the sand dunes. Evidence of flooding. There was a great flood that Noah prepared for in this world quite a few years ago. And in that flood, there were sea creatures moved to where there are now deserts. We know that because shark teeth and other animal remains like that have been found out in the deserts. Up above, the sky right here looks blue. I'll give you that, but it doesn't look blue everywhere. Wow, what is that? What's going on there with that weather? Kind of interesting. Just need to get a little something out of my shoe. It's a little seashell. Yeah. So part of this, I want to. I'm going to take a few pictures as I do this to commemorate this being out here, and then what I'll probably end up doing is copying and pasting this particular broadcast on pictures that we're looking at here. Yeah, the monitor will look somewhat like a mirror depending on lighting. I've shown that before. So in the context of the reflections here that you're looking at, there's a whole lot more water height than when I've normally taken pictures out here, because there's a couple feet more water that we're looking at. Out in the view over here, I've got beautiful pictures of sea creatures and birds in that have covered, well, they're on the ground, they're fishing, that type of thing. Right over here we've got a large crane. And this is pretty much how a mat like that will move around. And see, it's although it's shiny and somewhat reflective, it's not as reflective as the water is right there. Right in the middle of the view, I'm going to take a shot with the camera zoomed in, and I want to show you a little something with that. Well, I'll show you like this, I think. Probably better. That's another water tower there. And we've got another water tower over here. It's going to be harder to see, but it's, yeah, right there. Water tower right there, easier to see. They're continually being filled and drained. That's how that works. So will water go uphill? Well, it won't, unless there's a pump. It's not going to go higher than its point of origin. In other words, I can hold this pipe right here is vertical. However, it's taller than the water tower, its point of origin. So the water pressurizes the complete water system, and that's pretty much how that works. Got video the other day where there were irrigation spigots watering golf courses over there. Just very beautiful. It was easy to see too because of the lighting, the way that it was. The sunlight reflects off of the water beautifully. So I'm going to take us on over to the ocean, the open ocean. We should have some big waves, maybe some surfers out there right now. As I move into this area, I don't want to bypass this opportunity too quickly. The wind is coming out of the southeast right over here, and because of the aerodynamics and the visible clouds, the marsh grass, we can see some of those reflections beautifully. The symmetry of the clouds above and below right there, that's all part of the dynamic of how that works. And I'll go ahead and take a picture of it. It's easier for me to just hold it up to my face. When I do that, I use my body as my tripod basically, or my camera support. My rather large eyebrows serve a purpose. Let's see if I can show you how that works. It actually they actually provide a benefit to keep light from shooting on in as much around my eye. And it's a big deal when I'm doing action shots of surfers or boats or eagles, birds like that. That helps me out. And it's kind of a trademark. I've had bushy eyebrows for a long time. I'm not a feminine guy at all. Plenty of testosterone. Don't need any pills to make that whole system work any better. There's the float that was here earlier to float a dock. Something like that's probably $100. Looks like part of a crab trap there. And the debris, I certainly wouldn't want to walk out there now. A lot of sharp stuff can be in there. See, like the twigs and brush and all that, obvious high wind, and when the high tide or a storm surge comes in, it'll just wash all that off. It would look different. We can tell that the tide didn't come up that high this time. Plus, I was out here this morning and could see that. What I didn't realize is that the tide, I had my tidal activity inaccurate when I talked about it earlier today. High tide was like about 3:30 this morning, and it was still way up, higher than this. Even though this is high tide right now. Typically, the nighttime has a higher tide than the daytime. It's pretty much how that works out. Okay, in the earlier broadcast, as I mentioned, the mobile recording and broadcast studio that the old 94 Lexus is illustrates the water that was taken out of the atmosphere of my driver's compartment and how it's seeking its level. Right there, it's going towards the drain. That's how it's designed to do that. So what is science? Is it real repeatable observations? I would say very much like that. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not chopping this broadcast up and trying to present a false reality. I'm simply showing you the reality of the world that we live in. All right, I'll be but a moment. Got to load up. So when I talk about the firmament, and I've got that on my profile picture and cover photo, it's similar in concept to the protection that's provided by the windshield here. I can have a climate-controlled atmosphere. And by the way, I did grab my camera, just so you know. Okay. Where there's a big difference is that the firmament actually holds a bunch of water up there, from what I understand Scripture saying. How thick is it? How high up is the firmament? I don't know. Early on in this whole discussion, part of what happened was there was a lot of people, and they're still doing it, trying to figure out the map and the model and how all this works. And what I would simply say is it's on a need-to-know basis. I'm going to move this. I don't really need to know all of the details of that. What is really important is that a person needs to be born again. That's the emphasis. I'm not a Christian troll. I'm actually, maybe some would call me that. Oh, you're bringing your Bible into this discussion. As far as I understand, in the truth movements, the ultimate truth movement, the Bible has been the standard of what many believe the truth actually is. Now, I'm aware that there's other religions and other holy books, or what people revere as a holy book. I would simply say is I believe the Bible is true and gives us a record of creation and the world that we live in. And let me move on out here. Still the reflections are there. And I can just back on out and show you a little bit more of what that looks like this time of the day. In the lower right there, take note of the Prince Resort. It's right there. It's a perfect plane mirror, just that little puddle, and that's why I illustrate it and elaborate on it. The symmetry is perfect. The water is very shallow and it's protected from air currents. That's why it does that. So I'm a biblical creationist, unapologetic about that. And I'm real careful when I drive, just so you know. Even the puddles in the grass, let us see that. The water, she's a flat. And really high right now. So the water is still coming in here into this gazing pond. The reflection is rather beautiful, I think, and the symmetry is really good as well. Just so you know, my blinkers flash fast because I've got a high draw on my LED turn signals. So all my lights work, for those of you who would care to know. That's just how I roll. Licensed, insured, not riding dirty. We got dust flying around now. Didn't have that this morning because there was too much rain. Now because of the air system, there's blue sky intermingled all around. I'm going to take us walking out there. Should be beautiful, I would say. And I wanted to keep a cohesive broadcast so you can get a feel for the short distance I traveled to get here from where I was. Yep, we got surfers out on the walking out right now. Cool. Wow, we got some big waves too. That's awesome. Wow, I got to get a good parking spot right now. So I've got a gentleman that's going to be pulling out. I'm not in the optimal place for the block to go in, so I'm going to do that. By waving and stuff. His friend or wife is getting rinsing off her stuff. Yeah, see, if I'm up on the other side of them and somebody comes in from behind me, I'll lose the spot. It has to do a little bit with like parking etiquette around here, and you know, there's a lot of other parking spots here. It's just that's a really cool spot. Yeah, because we could have a rain band come in, and also there could be a rainbow occur. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do it like this. So right over in the middle of the view there is the direction that I shot the sun and the clouds, or the local sun video. Right behind me is the vehicle that would have taken my spot, or the spot I wanted. And that's part of the deal. I don't want to unnecessarily upset anybody. And then here in the middle of the view, we've got somebody demonstrating how the water will continue to seek its level. Outdoor showers here are kind of cool for that. All right, so what's really a big deal is for me to make sure I put my keys where they need to be. As you can imagine, be well focused on what I'm doing, what this is about. Maybe you get my drift. Alrighty then, here we go. Sorry for the close-up there. I've been whoa! There's a hunk of a tree over there that got washed up. And then we've got a lot of the salt spray and mist that is blowing around. You can see it's kind of like foggy down low. It's just the spray that occurs when the waves break in their action. Pretty awesome out here. Here's the Boardwalk Cafe. Great time of day for people to sit out there and enjoy this. Had an opportunity to take a photograph of Marcus. He's on the photo album. First day surfing, first time ever. I thought that was awesome. Caught some waves. We're looking at 5 to 7 feet waves, probably. A lot of people out there with surfboards in the middle of the shot. Man, that feels awesome. I wouldn't even mind being barefoot there. It's just sometimes there's a lot of sharp shells up here and that. So this morning we actually had water that went under the cafe here. You can see the evidence of that under there. Wash things around, wash the garbage can in there, filled it up with sand. That's a lot of water to come in this high. For the beach renourishment program that was here in September, I believe it was, I actually did a lot of broadcasting of that with heavy equipment, bulldozers running around on the beach and under the pier here from that vantage point up there. And I can tell you, based on what I've seen today, that there's been a tremendous amount of erosion on the beach today. So what are the waves? How do they work? Well, it's basically a lot of wind pushing against the top of the water over a long period of time. It's what it does. It's how it really works. That's real world stuff, baby. That's what it does. The water is moved by the wind, and other things can move it too. Seismic activity can. A vehicle in the puddle, like I showed this morning, that can make ripples too. So like, for example, I've taken pictures of surfers from up here, which will give me a totally different perspective and vantage point. That's pretty much how that actually works out. Draw your attention to the light hitting the waves, breaking like that, and how bright white it is. It's not all gray. It bounces the color around. It's reflecting differently and creating a lot of sea foam as well. The different elements that are in there, well, you can imagine it's evaporation of water for a long period of time. And then when we've got the blue skies up here, we're looking at, I believe, some pretty fresh air. Smells really fresh. Smells like freedom to me. Love the ocean, love the water. Been coming to the ocean for a good part of my life, since I was a teenager. Here comes Walter. That's what I call the single pelicans. Kind of like me. I don't mind being out and about. He'll probably go flying around and hang out with other pelicans later. That's what I do too. I don't need to be hanging on somebody's shoulder or holding their hand to feel comfort, meaning, passion, purpose, and perspective. What I have is Jesus for all of that. That may make some of you sick. I hope not. The significance that I have in life isn't contingent on another person. It's on my Creator and the Holy Spirit of Him who lives in me now. So, in the view right here, we can see the shadow of the railing. Then we can see the reflections that come from that there. And the symmetry is not the same as if it were a perfect flat pool of water, like next to the bottom of a post there. Just works different. So I'm going to activate the camera here and If I turn it like this, it'll be hard for you to see it. So what I'll end up doing is take a few shots and maybe just show it to you. Nice ride. So like, let's see if I got him. No, I missed the shot. So I may take some surfer shots and just set this up on a tripod and let you watch. Kind of depends on what goes on out here. Man, those are some big waves. Further out on the pier there, yeah, at least 7 feet, maybe more. High tide was about a half hour, 45 minutes ago. So the bedroom that I was in earlier today on the earlier broadcast is about 20 feet above sea level there, the floor. So like, for example, that's pretty close to the elevation here. If we have a big if we had a big tsunami that came in, it could easily go 7 miles in. No problem, because it's not about the distance in, it's about the minimal elevation that it would take to go up and how much water got moved to come on in. It would like spread out. I don't have my setup right for that. I've got to move my suction cup on the device, my battery, for a moment here. Yeah, see, I've got to hold it, I repositioned it so now I can get a better shot of that. So like, I can see the shadow right there. It means that bird was right there. It's just kind of how it works, knowing the lighting, the light source. Where's the light source? Where's the target gonna show up? You know, as in the objects I photograph. So right over there, I'm gonna take a shot of the tree. Let me zoom in on that, see how well you can see it. Just for illustrative purposes, I'll see a sailboat out there with my naked eye that I can't see with the camera until I zoom in on it, and then it draws it back in. Now, because of lighting, I'm gonna tip the camera down and show you something. The x-axis, that's the horizon from left to right, will show no curvature. That's a long distance. It's almost 6 feet up in the air above the horizon. You won't see any curvature there. 8 inches per mile squared can't be found. I haven't been able to find it. Some of the groups say that those numbers don't work out. Well, it really doesn't matter because there's no curvature anyway. One of the tests I did, I drove from coast to coast a decade ago. I was riding dirty, I was high on marijuana and going out to get some more. Well, the distance from coast to coast would be 2,300 miles. There's 650 miles of missing curvature. With that in mind, when I got to a 5 to 7% grade, the fuel economy would drop into the teens. I averaged 55 mpg with the high performance diesel Volkswagen. Yeah, it had a lot of torque, it was very powerful, and it had a real-time fuel economy estimating system on it. I was able to confirm actual gallons put through the vehicle, miles driven, and estimated fuel and all of that. It all checked out. So that would be one of the tests that I did. I'm not pro or anti-marijuana. I'm a free man that's free from the bondage of an addiction to an illegal substance in an area that has really got a problem with that. I'm not in California, I'm not in Colorado, I'm in the Bible Belt, South Carolina. They were really frown on it. So I'm looking at an osprey over there. I'm going to see if I can shoot him with my camera and show him to you. Whoop. I'm just going to do it one-handed here. He's banking, so I just need to take a minute to see if I can get him. Yeah, he's going to look a little small. I can blow him up really big if I wanted to. There he is. It's easier to hit a target like that than a bird like that. What I'll do, like to get a real osprey grabbing a fish out of the coastal preserve, I would shoot it like this. Bam, bam. I just bring the camera up like that and take the shot. And then I can make it bigger with digital imaging. I can have my camera zoomed in about the zoom I want to have for that location. Like the surfers out there, I'll show you what one of them looks like. Let's see, I'll zoom in on them and shoot them. He's on top of a wave right there. The idea with the P900, even though I can take shots of the sun and the moon, I can take shots of the people and the birds. It's all pretty amazing, actually. So they're out here having fun. I don't see any awesome rides happening yet. Oh, there's a nice ride there. I need to get some of those shots. Here he is. So that's a pretty cool shot. There's not enough wind right now to support my friends that do the kite surfing. It's too calm for that. They need more than 13 miles an hour to make it work. So we can see the sea foam was at the high tide line up there, and it's not getting that high anymore. So the tide is obviously going out. It's not just the projected time that the Tidal app gave me, it's the actual reality of what I'm observing out here. I can't confirm the accuracy of the Tide app in other countries where the sun, or when the sun appears and vanishes from a different vantage point. I can't personally confirm that. Somebody else might be able to if I trusted them, and they say, yeah, I'm in Australia and the sun is up, here's a shot of the moon, all of that. But you see, even at that, and I've got friends that live in Tasmania, Australia. You can scroll through my friend network. I've got friends all over the world. and their profiles are all over the world. I have no reason to distrust them per se. However, I don't need that evidence of what they say to substantiate what I found out. So I'm going to flip this around and show you something. This time of the year, the sun is going to appear over there. I've proven it, captured it, shared it, live photos of it. In the winter months, it's going to be coming up way over there, which is further from this location, lower in the sky, and it'll do this. Bam. Okay? And now in the summer months, it's going to do this. Come up there and go right over like that. It's just what it does. It's not just the path of the sun, it's the duration of visibility between the sun and the moon and how they vary. So it's not just where they appear and vanish, it's their duration of visibility. Their approximate size, which is equal, as best I can tell. The sun puts off a warm light, warm color spectrum, and it's warming. It tans me. I love the sun. The moonlight is cool. I've tested it with a digital readout, and I've proven that to me. I got to get my shoes off. I've got too much sand in them. Yeah, it's pretty uncomfortable. Right now, we're looking at, okay, so we can see tracks of equipment. That would be a beach services lifeguard vehicle. This would be a beach services vehicle picking up trash, and then the people that are here enjoying it. Broken up fiber that like the marsh grass, and then the quill. Okay, so back in the day, before we had digital communications, we had scribes and scrolls and quills and God superintending the authoring of Scripture. Yeah, how about that? Can he get that done? He created this place. You think he can have an individual accurately write down what he wants them to? Hello. Of course he can. Of course he can. How does that work? It works excellent. What's nice about digital communications is it's replicatable, and we can transfer that information very effectively. It's what I get to do. I don't have to. This is not a dull, oh, do I have to go to the beach today and do a broadcast? No, I want to. It's just what I get to do. So I'll just keep on doing this. It's the best deal going. Being free from alcohol, drugs, and a life of trying to hide from reality. I don't have to do that. Not hiding from the reality of the world that we live in. So I want to show you something. I've got 2 Bible.com chairs and a dolly to get them out. And I've been setting up with a couple of chairs now, so people can hang out with me if they want to. Yeah, that's just how I roll. And it happens. I mean, people come up to me and want to know what I'm about, what I'm doing. It'll look a lot different if I grab a tripod, but I don't need to right now. This is not only a cooler, it's a temperature equalizer. Sometimes I don't want the camera too hot or cool, and that works good for that. It's waterproof reasonably. It's all an important deal being out here with all this stuff, with sand and water and rain and all of that. So I wanted to take the camera back, and I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and set this up right out there so you can watch what's going on here. And then I'm going to grab a couple of chairs and have a seat. Wow, and take some awesome surf shots. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I hope you enjoy that. Don't have to comment on everything. I'll just let you soak this in, see what you think about it. Uh-oh. Looks like I'm I'm losing my broadcast. Not good. So I don't know if anybody can hear me right now, but I've got to get another wire to stick on this to try and get reception. It looks like I lost my broadcast. Hey, good to see you here. Can you hear me right now? Can somebody say, oh, okay, cool. My device is acting a little weird, like it's struggling to broadcast. Hey, Buck, good to see you, man.
How you doing?
You going back out?
Yeah, I think I will.
Excellent. So whereabouts you were just over here, huh?
Yeah, it's just right next to you here.
Oh, cool. How long are you going to be out for?
Probably 45 minutes or so.
Cool.
We just got out here.
I got a couple of nice shots. Brandon was out here the other day.
Yeah.
Got some of him.
He's good, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's awesome. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and see what I can grab, and then I'll be posting and making some video and stills.
Great.
We'll see what I come up with. Wow, what are we looking at? 5 to 7 at least, right?
They got some size to them. I haven't been able to catch one of the outside ones yet. They look like they could be overhead.
Oh yeah, yeah, you got to get there.
Yeah,
it's some big water, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And we kind of judged it wrong. We didn't think the current was going as fast as it was.
Hey, good to see you, man. What a day, huh?
Oh yeah, it's beautiful out.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get some shots. You're going to be out for like 45 more minutes, eh?
Yeah, probably something like that.
Cool. I should get some, and if I get some that look really good, I'll just post them on my photo album. You can see them and download them if you want.
Awesome, I appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome. So is the broadcast still going? Can somebody let me know if you can see things okay? Give me a thumbs up, or yeah, the broadcast I can hear and see. Because I'm having a hard time with it right now, I can't tell. Hey, excellent. All right. So the story right now is I've got probably about 45 minutes to an hour of pretty good opportunity to catch some people taking some good rides, and that's what I'm going to see what I can come up with. And it's also a great outreach opportunity as well, because I get some awesome shots of these guys doing what they do, and there's really not anybody out here with the equipment to do that I can see right now. So they'll be able to go to my Facebook because it's a public post, and in that. So that's largely what I'll do. Here we go. Here's a shot right there. Nice. And see, part of the deal is I have just a moment to get shots like that. So I'll do that, and who knows where that'll all go for them. I talk to people around the world around the clock. It's awesome. It's actually really fun being me. Having Jesus live in and through me. That's the big deal here. New life in Christ. I'm not. I certainly don't. I certainly don't like feel like a robot at all. I get to do what I want because Jesus put the want to do what He created to do. It's a perfect fit. So, like, let me flip this around. I've got other video that I've shot here in this area. This is a bit different, but I'm gonna take it back around, show you this view, let you watch that, and I'll see what video or stills I can capture. Hey man, I got a pretty cool shot. I think it was you out there just a little while ago. Let's see. Oh, are you done for the day? Are you in for the day? Yeah. I'm Robert Ford.
Robert, Clark, hey, six.
We've talked.
Have we?
It's been a while.
Yeah, I think you know Brendan, right?
I do.
He was talking about you today. Coming down to Myrtle Beach.
Cool. Here's my Facebook card. Share it with anybody you want, any of your friends out here, anybody that you need.
Yeah.
And what I'll probably be posting that picture of Jesus on there.
Awesome.
And you can go ahead and grab. You do Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be able to. You know how to download a photo out of my album, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Go ahead and do it.
Awesome.
And make
Thank
a nice. Now, do you have some good surf profile pictures?
Yeah, I need to get some better ones, but I'm completely
Do you like that?
Yeah. See, that's when I was bottom turn.
Yeah.
That's when I was bottom turning. You wanted to get it like right here when I was smacking it.
Okay.
That would have been, but it's still like you got me when I was bottom turning. So like, did you see me run after I turned it?
Well, let me see if I got anything.
Is that like after?
Well, these are the shots that I got of you doing that. Well, let's see. What I'm going to have to do, Jesus, is check it out.
All right.
When I get home, and what I'll do is post the best
See, because I
one.
saw you. You got me like when I was bottom turning. That's like right when I'm bottom turning.
Yeah.
So right when I'm bottom turning, that's perfect where you want to be at. Right when I'm bottom turning, I'm gonna go back up. I'm gonna smack the lip. That's what
Sounds
I
good.
get.
If I can get you with air,
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
Oh yeah, I can do it for sure. We're going up to Wrightsville Beach tomorrow to get some real waves.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's where they are?
Oh, yeah.
How big?
They're gonna be. They're just a lot better lines, so you can do. Here it's super bushy, so it's like it's kind of harder to like do with these kind of waves. But over there, it's gonna be like 3 or 4 foot, and it's supposed to be clean, actual lines, you know, so you can actually hit the wave a couple times.
So is that like an hour and 20 minutes away?
Yeah, it's not a bad drive at all.
No.
I feel like it goes by so quick every time we go up there.
Wrightsville Beach, just go up to Wilmington, is
Yeah.
it? How many guys do you think will be out there?
A lot.
A lot of guys.
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot of surfers out there. That's a surf town.
I think that's what I'll be doing tomorrow.
Alright,
Thanks for
hey.
the tip on that.
Yeah, I'll actually call you and tell you where I'm at.
Nice. Now, Wrightsville beaches are like a main spot there.
There's a couple main spots there.
Where do you think you might be?
I'm gonna probably be right behind that surf shop. I can't remember the name of the surf shop, but I'll be right behind it. I'll let you know tomorrow.
Yeah, or you could call anytime.
Yeah,
it could be any time of the day or night.
Yeah.
Just leave a message.
I'll text you tonight and I'll let you know. Oh, that's pretty good right there.
All right. Awesome, man. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
So the word that I got was Jesus was saying Wrightsville Beach tomorrow. There's going to be some real good surfing there and a lot of people going there to enjoy it. That's in North Carolina, about an hour and 15 minutes from here. And that's very likely where I'll be going tomorrow to take some shots. I'm going to find out a little bit more of like when they're going to be getting there. So anyway, I'm going to keep this rolling for a while, see what shots I can get. I'll be back in a bit. What is the best spot up there to get this?
The pier. Right off the pier, Crystal Pier. Like, so you can come on the island, go right, get it down to Crystal Pier right here. Everyone.
The pier at Wrightsville Beach.
Yeah.
Is there just like one main pier?
I think there's two, but if you come on the island and go right, I think it's called Crystal Pier.
Crystal Pier.
You go there and you go to the pier, there's park all the way down to that whole end of that island.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Are you in for the day?
Yeah.
I'm going to be heading on out there, and depending on what I see and what I'm able to get, I'll be posting some on Facebook.
Yeah, it's going to be nice and warm. Very nice.
Excellent. Sounds great. Thanks, man. Yeah, so that'll be the happening for me tomorrow. I'll be going to most likely the Crystal Pier at Wrightsville Beach in North Carolina, and there should be a lot of people out there surfing. So it's multifaceted, it's gorgeous, it's fun to take shots like that, as well as an outreach for me to be able to interact with people that'll end up wanting to go to my profile, my Facebook and YouTube, and find other things there. Find the beautiful video that I'm able to capture, some of just the wildlife and the ocean and sunrises, sunsets, and surfers and more. Basically the people that come out here to enjoy the beauty and majesty of creation and share that. Well, at about what time?
After this, between 4 and 6, and I would back to the yeah.
So what if you do is Wrightsville in the morning, where will you be tomorrow?
I'll be out there in Carolina.
Carolina Beach. Is that closer to the Crystal Pier?
Yeah.
That's what I'm planning on doing. Probably for sunrise, huh? Yeah, that's pretty cool. That'd be great. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That's on my target practice. I get some nice shots. It's just a matter of do I get the shots that and part of the deal is share eyesight with any of the friends. We look for cars that okay. Did I ever give you my So just to say once again, the pier faces directly south here in Cherry Grove. Not too many surfers on the other side of the pier, mostly over here. And I'll just leave this set up for a little bit longer and see what kind of shots I can get today out here with the camera and let you enjoy this. All right, so I'm back. Hey there. I'm gonna pan on up and see what we can do with the moon there in the view. See if I can zoom in on that. Need to back on out and hit record when I do this. It'll just make it a little bit easier to hit the target. I've got a spot on my screen. Hello.
How you doing?
Great, thanks. All right, so let's see what we can do here. There we go. Sorry about that. Kind of hard target to hit. I'm just going to zoom in and take a shot of it and show you what it looks like right now, Eastern Standard Time. All right, there we go. So, to be clear, I don't know exactly how far the sun and the moon are away. I'll take pictures of them and show you. Now here we've got the sun vanishing behind the building. I'm going to flip it around because I can get you a better shot there. Okay. There we go. And there's no way I can zoom in on that without a filter. What I've done is use the clouds as a filter. There's way too much diffused lighting. I could throw a filter on it. I'm not going to do that right now. Don't need to. What I'm going to do is go home and get ready for tomorrow's broadcast. I most likely will broadcast from Wrightsville Beach. Should be a lot of surfers there, some big waves. And when I walked away for a while, I was up over on the dunes over there. I can get a better perspective shooting from up a little bit higher. I can see the waves that they're getting ready to ride. It gives me a little notice and a bit of a better angle to shoot. So I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your public and private encouragement. It's a pleasure to get to do what I get to do, and I do it because I care. It's not how much I know, it's how much I care. Jesus gave me a love for humanity to reach out with His word to the ends of the earth around the clock. Any of us can do that want to. I could write Bible.com in the sand and then the waves would wash it away. However, if I did that when I was on a live broadcast, you might remember that. That's kind of the idea of what we can do with digital communications. What's happened now, even though I'm not going to do it right now, I've done it before to show that I can do that. I'm gonna go ahead and put my camera up. I want to illustrate something I did earlier today, but I definitely want to make sure my camera doesn't flop out on the ground here. All right, So what I can do with this is basically use it as kind of like a mirror. If you don't have a like a mirror, you're out somewhere and you've got your cell phone, let's see if I can do it there, that could signal somebody if you needed to. Just something to keep in mind. With this device right here, I could flash the reflection of the sun with a hotspot like my phone is right now. Connected with it, I can do a simulcast on Facebook if I choose to. With 100 subscribers, we can live broadcast mobile on YouTube. It's a cool opportunity. One of the things that we can do is basically subscribe to other channels. I either want to learn from them or them to learn from me, and ultimately from God through me, and so I can subscribe to anybody basically. That's what I do. We get an opportunity to subscribe to 2,000 people. I can subscribe to 100 channels a day. When I get up to the 2,000 limit, subscribing to a channel is unsubscribing to another channel. Most of us know how to find what we're looking for when we search. So I just use that ability to basically communicate with people and say, hey, I see you. A lot of the, just so you know, a lot of the people that are toughest on me and most critical don't even have any content on their YouTube profile. It's just kind of like a blank profile. I don't know if it's simply a node on the artificial intelligence, which artificial intelligence is real. It's not friendly to people, just so you know. Satan will use who and what he can. Jesus uses everything to work together for his glory and his outcome. So thanks for watching, liking, sharing, and as always, I encourage everybody to hear, share, and of course, obey God's word. Bible.com, Bible.is. You can call me anytime. Thanks.